pet friends, I'm Teresa.
And I'm Sarah.
Today, one of the things that we're going to talk about is
Pet insurance.
pet insurance.
Teresa, I know you have pet insurance because I know your little man was very sick.
Yeah, I've had pet insurance for I want to say the last three dogs that I've had.
And so my question for you is like when I see what the deductible is, what the monthly charge, is it worth it? Here's a statistic that I didn't know. Every 6 seconds, a pet owner receives a vet bill over $1,000. Every 6 seconds.
I believe it. I'm a big dog lover and I've had dogs all my life, ever since I was little. I never had pet insurance, not as a kid. My parents never had it. It wasn't even a thing then. And then I had my childhood dog, and then she passed away. And then I got dogs as an adult. And I didn't have insurance for my dog that I got as an adult. And he got very sick, and it cost a lot of money to take care of him. And when he passed away,
Was that Peanut?
no, it was Casey. It was
Oh,
Casey.
Casey. Okay.
So he had gotten kidney failure, and it's a lot when they have kidney failure because there's medication, there's fluids, there's hospitalization, and it costs a lot of money. When he passed, I was adamant that when I got another dog that I was going to get pet insurance because it had just started becoming a thing at that point. So when I did get my next dog, who was Shadow, I went ahead and I purchased the pet insurance, and it was the best decision that I ever made.
So, what was the process? What did you have to go through? Did the vet mention it, or did you just start looking it up saying, I can't afford $3,000 every time I go to the vet? And by the way, it wasn't $3,000 for our parents to take our pets to the vet. What
No, it
happened?
wasn't. Things have skyrocketed. I'm just going to go off on one little tangent, and then we'll get back to the pet insurance. But we recently got a new dog, and we're trying to get him neutered, and the vet wants $1,000 just to neuter the dog. I mean, it used to be Casey, for instance, cost me $75 to get neutered. They
Right.
want $1,000 to neuter this dog. But anyway, that's a subject for a different day. So pet insurance. I had seen pamphlets in the vet's office
Okay.
about pet insurance. So when I got Shadow and I took him in for his initial visit, I did pick up that pamphlet and I talked to the vet a little bit about it, and he said it was a good idea. So that's how I started on my pet insurance journey. And it was fairly easy to sign up. The company that I used is called True Panion,
Hmm.
and they were just very nice and very helpful in deciding on which type of insurance and how much coverage would be appropriate for my situation.
Was there only one type of pet insurance to choose from?
At that point, there was just I in his vet office. That was the only one that I had
Yeah.
seen, the pamphlet, True Panion. And in fact, even today, they are really, I see them most often in vet offices is
Okay.
True Panion.
What were your main considerations when you chose pet insurance? The cost, right? How does it work? What were your deductibles? If you're going to pay $30 every month, doesn't that come out to a large amount a year?
Yes, it does. It's just like our insurance, basically. We pay insurance. We pay quite a bit of insurance, even through our employer. We pay quite a bit. It's the same thing with the pets, but I can guarantee you that if your pet gets sick, it will far outweigh how much you paid monthly. And my journey has changed quite a bit. So in the beginning,
Right.
with when I first started with pet insurance, Shadow was on Trupanion. Sophie was also on Trupanion. There's different types of factors that were involved. I set my deductible at $150. So that's all I had to pay out of pocket was $150.
Oh, that's good. Because I see
Yeah, it
some
was.
are up to $1,000.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. When they both started as almost 2-year-old dogs, it was, I think it was like $75 a piece with a $150 deductible. And this is unique to True Canyon. That $150 deductible is per health. issue. So let's say one year they get a kidney infection, you have to pay $150 deductible.
Okay.
But in the same year, they,
Have rheumatoid
sprain their,
arthritis. Yeah.
yes, or something like that's another $150 deductible. But it's for the lifetime of the pet. So if the dog gets a kidney infection every single year, you've met that deductible of
Okay.
$150 or $250 or $500, whatever you set the deductible for. So I just happened to set the deductible for $150. And in the beginning, it was about $75 a month.
Hmm.
And the coverage that True Panion, actually, this is the only one that they have, is unlimited coverage,
Oh, okay.
which is important. And we'll get into that in a second when we talk
Because it,
about different companies.
yeah.
But that's what I had chosen, $150 deductible. It was $75 a month and unlimited coverage. And yes, the insurance did go up every year, but True Panion, they only increase as cost of living. They don't increase with the age of the dog, which is very important. And we'll talk about that again with other insurance companies. But I had that for both Shadow and Sophie, same coverage for both of them. Sophie got thyroid cancer when she was about 7 years old. She went through a surgery to have her thyroid removed, and she also went through chemotherapy. And she finished chemotherapy, and 6 months later it came back, and we tried to save her, but it didn't work. So we had to put her to sleep. But after that all happened, I just went through the True Canyon claims just to see how much, not just how much that I owed, but how much everything was in total.
Yeah, at the back end that we don't see because the vet is billing them and you're only seeing what you're paying. So that's
Correct.
interesting.
But that it added up to $40,000.
Yeah.
And oh, that's one thing I forgot to mention is that the True Panion pays out 90%. So I
Okay.
had to pay 10%. But 10% of 40,000 is a lot better than 40,000.
Answer me this question. This is what I understand is that, and maybe it's different for True Panion, but these other two that I looked into, you have to pay first at the vet, and then you put in your claim, and then they pay you, which some people have said they haven't paid them because they rejected it. That's
That's yeah, that's another difference between True Panion and these other insurance companies. So True Panion, a lot of the vets now have the software in their office, so they can go ahead and put it through True Panion right then and there, and then all you owe is your deductible and your the 10% that you owe. They will also do, I guess it's not an estimate, but it's what is it called? An estimate, but if you
they
want to,
will tell you like if you want these extra services, this is how much it will cost you.
yeah,
Quote. They do a
exactly.
quote for you. When you did the purchase and the initial setup, there are things like pre-existing conditions and maybe your dogs were younger, so you didn't really have that. What did you find most surprising about pet insurance? What really works and what do you think is not working?
It is money related,
Of
actually, but
course.
the relief that I could take my dog to the vet without having to worry about how am I
Hmm.
going to come up with 5,000, 10,000, $1,000, you
It's that
know.
surprise when you walk in there. Like when I walked in, I was like, with my dog when he wasn't doing well, I was like, okay, this is going to be 1,800. This is going to be 1,200. You don't even know because prices
Right.
are rapidly increasing. It's your peace of mind that you were found surprising when you first started.
Yes.
Mm,
Yes,
makes
because I didn't have that awful dread about how am I going to pay for this so that my dog isn't in pain, so that my dog can live, so that my dog can be happy. When Shadow and Sophie both passed away, we got another dog, and I did not choose True Panion. I went with a different company that ended up being a huge mistake, a big mistake.
Oh no. Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. You had peace of mind, right? And now you're in this other insurance company and it's not working.
I purchased this insurance company with a wellness plan. So now that's the new thing. You can purchase like a wellness piece to go with the accident and illness piece. But I'm finding that it's
What
really,
does wellness cover?
it covers like shots.
Like your yearly checkup, like our wellness would be our yearly checkup. And it wouldn't be anything like we had to go to a specialist or we had to go to our doctor because we weren't feeling well. It's just what we do on a regular basis.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It covers shots and like flea and tick medication, and
Okay.
then teeth cleaning. If you have enough money left over, you could use it for that as well.
Yeah.
I purchased this because it sounded really good. The
Mhm.
wellness with the same sort of insurance I had with Trupanion, and I paid a little bit extra to get unlimited coverage. That's important because there's insurances that will only pay, let's say, $8,000 a year, or
Yeah.
you
Some
know,
as low as 2,500,
$2,000 a year.
which is like,
And it's not enough. It's just, it's not an, if your dog's healthy and never gets sick, then yeah, it'll be
yeah,
enough. But if your dog gets sick, and then especially very sick, $10,000 is not going to be enough.
yeah,
So I paid a little bit extra to get the unlimited, and I had it for, let's see, Olivia was 3 when we got her, and I just switched, and now she's 7. I switched back to Trupanion because her renewal came up with this other insurance company, and I was paying about $171 for her insurance, and then they raised it $200, so it was almost $400 a month for this insurance.
yeah. Is that
And
4,800 a year? Is that right, math?
I
I
don't
think
know,
I
maybe,
think so. That's a lot. That's a lot.
but I
Yes,
can
it's your
afford.
pet and it's worth it. But why did this even start? And why did the $75 to 1,000 for fixing your dog? When did that happen? Why did that happen? Are they vets working with insurance and now we have to get pet insurance? Where you can even say 5 years ago, you didn't have to do that. Just a strange little thing. And I
Yeah,
don't think it's right.
I don't think
But
it's right
we're
either.
in it now. So we have no, it's, you're forced to get pet insurance.
Yeah, if you want to keep your pet healthy, because a trip to the emergency room can cost $10,000.
So that's something you found alarming and not the best with that particular company.
Yeah, with not with that particular company. So I ended up going back to Trupanion for her. And again, stellar customer service, just wonderful people, walked me through what the deductible was going to be, what my monthly payment was going to be. And because I started with them later in Olivia's life, everything's more expensive, right? So if I had started her when I got her, the deductible, I could have had the deductible be less, my monthly payment would be less, so forth and so on.
So when your pet is
But because
younger, it is the idea to get it then, and your deductible never goes up as they get older or get sick.
the deductible, you can raise it if you want or lower it if you want. So in order to afford them, the monthly payment will go up, but not because of your pet's age. And this is only with Trupanion. This is only with Trupanion. The other insurances will start raising your premium based on the pet's age.
Oh, they will.
And that's what happened with Olivia and this other company. But
Mhm.
also because I live in California, and they were telling me that I was underpaying for years because of legislation, and then things changed so they could charge me whatever they wanted. And that's exactly what they said. They could charge me whatever they wanted.
They started lobbying all those California representatives and changing the insurance for pets in California. It sounds
I
like
think it's I think it's a bigger issue than that, but I think it's because insurance companies were threatening to leave California for because of fires and things like that. But to me, I think raising someone's insurance $200 is, it's criminal.
yeah, it's like raising rent 10%. People don't get a 10% bump every year. They get a cost of living that's maybe 3%. So now you have Your pet insurance shouldn't be that high either. So that's double, right? That's a
Right.
steep increase.
I feel comfortable that I went back to Trupanion. My deductible is not $150. It's $500 because I had to put it that high so that I could afford the premium. But I feel like I have peace of mind because I know that they will pay for things if she gets sick. Although there are a few pre-existing conditions because although she's been relatively healthy, she has like anxiety, so she's on some anxiety medication, and so now that won't be covered by Trupanion because
Yeah.
it's considered a pre-existing condition. And I think the other insurance told me that she had to have a tooth pulled. So I think that's going to be considered a pre-existing condition.
So, what are your tips for people? Coverage limits, exclusions, or reimbursements?
The
Uh,
thing that is important to me, and it may not be important to everybody else, but the thing that was important to me that it was unlimited coverage, only because of my experiences with my last two dogs. $40,000 for Sophie and her cancer. And then Shadow was sick pretty much from the moment I got him until he passed away. So he was always back and forth to the vet. He had to have an internal medicine doctor, and it was a lot of money. I didn't add his up because I couldn't. But that was important to me. So that's one thing. Coverage limits. Is that important to you? Do you want to have unlimited coverage? Or are you okay with them having a $10,000 a year limit? So
yeah.
that's one thing.
Mhm.
Deductible. That is something that is up to the individual. So the lower the deductible, the higher your premium. The higher the deductible, the lower the premium.
Do your math every year of what you can afford. Can you cover the difference? Or do you need unlimited and you're willing to pay more a month if you get pet
Correct.
insurance to begin with? What questions do you think people really should ask? I know it's a case by case, person by person, pet by pet, but what is the most important thing that they should be looking out for that they may not know to ask?
They should definitely ask how they apply increases year after year. Is
Mhm,
it based on the pet's age? Is it
mhm,
based on cost of living? That's a
mm.
very important question to
Okay.
ask.
And you would not recommend wellness, an add-on, because really it's the same thing in a way? Or does pet insurance, I don't understand wellness really, because you've already have pet
Well,
insurance that should cover everything wellness does it not?
but it
Oh,
doesn't. Most of the insurances out there, pet insurances out there, are just for accident and illness, and some of them will tack on this wellness. But for instance, for our other dog, and I'm second guessing this also, but we have a different insurance for him, and he has wellness that is about $650 a year toward that goes towards wellness, and that's about how much it costs to get his shots. It's basically like a savings account that you're paying in but not getting interest in. That's what it's like to me. I think you should just take that money and put it in a savings account and get some interest, and then you can use it for the wellness.
does it roll over or do you lose
Yes,
it?
yeah. We finished Milo's wellness last week. And so I sent in the claim. And then when they sent it back, they said, no need to send us any more wellness. You've exhausted your wellness dollars.
What does that mean?
We've used the $650 that they allocated towards wellness. So
But
they
you
said,
have,
don't bother.
yeah, but what happens with the rest of the year? Maybe I'm not understanding. Do they cover that then?
No, once your wellness money is gone, then if you need to have any other wellness items taken care of or flea and tick medication, that comes out of your own pocket.
Okay. So really, what's the difference between your own pocket the whole time? Just a savings matter?
For, for wellness,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I'm saying it's not worth it. Just
No. You're going to pay no matter what. And when it runs out, you're just going to pay yourself. So it doesn't seem beneficial. Talk about some myths people might have, like it's too expensive. I think you mentioned that already, that it really does pay for itself, not wellness, but the actual pet insurance pays for itself. Or I
it
don't
does.
need it. I don't need it if my pet is healthy. But then you're in that catch 22 where they get older, then your deductible is going to be higher. But aren't you just stuck in a
And
system then?
The younger you start the dog out, especially with True Panion. Now, it's not the other insurances, but because True Panion does not raise their premiums based off the pet's age. So the younger you start at True Panion, the better, because then your premium does go up, but it doesn't go up exponentially.
Okay.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper when you start them younger. It's cheaper. It's not so crazy expensive. But you have to remember that if you don't get it when they're younger and then they start having things happen, I don't know, kidney infections, bladder infections, things like
Cancer.
that, then you all of a sudden decide, oh, yeah, I need to get some pet insurance. Then those are all considered pre existing conditions and they will not be covered under the insurance. This is my own experience.
And you're not paid by True True
I'm not
Canyon.
paid by I'm not paid by Trupanion. I
Oh,
just
we
happen to
wouldn't
really
mind.
like them because they were wonderful with Shadow and Sophie, and they were very supportive when I called about Olivia.
So, for pet parents who insure the pets, in the United States, dogs make up 80% of pets insured. Cats make up about 20%. And the highest states are California, is number one, and then Florida, Michigan, and New York. The average cost for a dog is about, on one, it ranges. So it's $27 to like maybe $68 a month, depending. For a cat, it's like $15 to $30. It's not as expensive.
I'm a little shocked by the numbers because I didn't think that there were that many people who insured their pets. I thought I was just being the extra person doing
Do you
extra
know?
stuff.
Yeah, do you know that pet insurance market is expected to reach 19 billion in 2029, and it's growing at a rate of 12.43% a year. For me, I never did get pet insurance. My Maya, when I took her in because she had the growth on her above her paw, which would be like where our knuckle or our ankle is. I don't know what you call that on a dog, but it was growing like in a bubble, right? And it was cancer. But they told me we can try to cut it out, we can try chemo, but because of the tendons and the ligaments, they're never going to get it out. She was not really showing signs of pain until close to the end when we did put her to sleep. But they pretty much said it wasn't something we should pursue. And at that point, how could I get pet insurance? I probably would have to pay a large deductible or something, right? So sometimes those are considerations too. She was 14, not a young dog. This was not something that they could cut out. These are things to consider as well.
Thing to talk about is just because you can have something done, should
Right.
you, even when you have pet insurance? Because with Shadow, I tried probably longer than I probably should have with him, but at some point you just have to make this decision to not have the pet suffer.
Yeah, and I don't want Maya to go through chemo if it's not really going to save her, which they said it probably wouldn't. And I don't want her to have what she has, plus surgeries and recoveries and the fear of that and all those things. So you do have to make those considerations as well. You're right. And then let me ask you this question since we're talking about death and dying, and we've both been through that recently with our pets. What does pet insurance cover in that regard? And let me say, it wasn't that expensive. It was like $200, $281 to put them to sleep and cremate them.
Yeah, I they cover it. The pet insurance will
Oh, they
cover
do.
the cremation, and if you like want to have them back like in a decorative box or something
Right.
like that, they cover that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good. But it wasn't really that much. I'm going to check in this time next year and see has it gone up from, like you said, $75 to 1,000. And if it's now $281 to put your dog to sleep or your pet to sleep, is it going to be 2,000 next year? And that will be interesting. Then they're pigeonholing you into a situation where you have to get insurance or you
Yeah.
can't take care of your pet.
Or exactly. Some options for the neutering of Milo. I'm sorry, but I'm not spending $1,000 to get him neutered at the vet. So he's on a waiting list at for the SPCA or the Humane Society that we have here. And so he's on that waiting list, and it's $200.
Yeah.
So $1,000 versus $200.
And I will say, if you're looking to get a pet, if you adopt from the shelter, they will cover all of those costs for you. They work with vets in your area, and you don't have to pay for that. That's another good reason to save a pet from the overcrowded shelters. Maybe a consideration. We're talking about the scary thing of money and sickness, but that comes later in life. That comes for all of us, no matter if it's a cat or dog, bird. It shouldn't be a hindrance.
I'm
You
sure
ever
I
taken your bird? You had a bird.
have a
Like
bird, but it's hard to find like a doctor
that.
who can take care of birds. But we also had hamsters,
Hmm.
and there was only one vet here who saw like little animals. So that was interesting.
Put it in the comments if you have a bird and your vet experience with that or small animals, small pets, and we'll share it with everyone.
If you all want to hear about something, if you want us to dive deeper into something, put that in the chat also and let us know what you would like us to research and come back and talk about.
Thank you so much for joining. We upload weekly. Bye.
Hey, thank you for watching. We hope you join our vibrant community of pet mamas and dads who, like us, are passionate about their pets and want the very best for them. We love sharing our pet journey with you, but we are not professionals. So everything we share comes from our personal experiences, and it's just our opinion. So please always consult with a qualified professional for your pet's specific needs. We post a new episode every Wednesday, and you can find us at Hey Pet Friends across all social media and heypetfriends.com on our website. See you next Wednesday.